Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Hope you're all going to enjoy it. Today I have the Mastemon deck profile that you've all been requesting very much, my good friend Trevor. So I'm going to let him take it away and explain the deck for you.
Hey guys, I'm Trevor, Lumus friend. He's one of the Mastemon deck lists, so I'm here to give it. So I guess we'll get started. Mastemon is just a weird deck in general. We'll just start with the eggs and work from there. So to start off, we have 4 Pokemons. They're from BT13, and they're basically inheritables. Just when you play an angel, draw one. It gets you through your deck, lets you do stuff. And then we're running 1 Pokemon X antibody. And basically, it's just when a card's out of security to minus +, DP, lets you maybe beat over things, stuff like that. DP reduction, great. Anyway, that's it for the X. On to level 3s. Obviously, if you're running purple base, you will have a multitude of eggs. You can run basically within so many different ones. You've got Neanomons, you've got Demimeras, they're all pretty handy. But I'm loving the yellow at the moment on it. So anyway, on to rookies. The cornerstone of the deck, Tamers. Basically, it can Digivolve for 0 over yellow-purple. Right, and basically it's inheritables. Once per turn, when you play another Digimon, purple Digimon gain a memory. I mean, can't hurt at all. Basically makes your Garamons cost 4, makes anything to play from a Mastemon DNA. If it's purple, you just gain the memory back. It's pretty handy for keeping control of the memory and keeping it as high as possible. Obviously, with rookies, there's not a lot of wiggle room for this. This is probably going to be staying for like the next couple of sets for my build. Very, very handy in general. Obviously, if you're in purple, you have Ignitemon. It does the same thing. It's handy for the yellow. So we also have Salamons. So Salamon ST10, sorry, is just kind of handy, because if you're in Angemon, if you're in Lady Devi, or if you're in Devimon, anything like that, and you don't have the end of turn DNA, you now have an end of turn DNA. It's pretty handy for like keeping control of the board slightly in that regard, because you can always get your Mastemon and then get your memory back to keep it your turn. It's kind of handy. Obviously, when BT13 drops, we get Patamon. This changes completely. Patamons are just way stronger, but at the moment, this is probably one of the best rookies we can have for that reason. I like it for the end of turn. It is literally just for when you're in your level 4s. We are then also running 2 Sukayamons. They are the ST10 ones, and basically it's just reveal the top 3, look for an Angel, Archangel, Fallen Angel. Pretty simple. It's basically can Digivolve over yellow, purple as well, so it keeps you with your eggs. If you're stuck, you can always Digivolve into it. It finds your pieces for when you're DNAing, so it's pretty handy. Again, the new Patamon stuff just kind of overshadows it a lot. You sort of change into a lot of your other stuff in that regard, like the rookie lineup just completely changes. But yeah, so that's basically it for the rookies. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're running 9. It's quite heavy for Mastemon, but it's still pretty good.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you never miss a thing.
Moving on to the level 4s, though, this is where things become a wee bit interesting. Well, not in this build, but future build. So we have our Garamons. ST10. You can't beat an ST10 Garamon. It's just, there's no wiggle room. It searches the yellow, it searches the purple, it searches both together, and then lowers the cost of your Angels, Archangels, Fallen Angels devolutions by 2, so, and then it's inheritables at the end of turn. It basically is kind of the best hard play level 5 you will ever play. The fact that you gain a memory back from the Combomons means that if you already have a line and you play it, you can play for cost 4. It makes it a wee bit easier to get out and then get searching. I find sometimes very, very helpful to digivolve in the back row over them. People don't like doing that, but sometimes needs must, and it gives you the protection where it's not going to get hit, and then you raise it and you can digivolve over it. At the minute, there's no better card for it. This is probably staying for at least a few formats, I would say, if not more. It's just too good to find. They are not changing ever. On top of that, we have BT13 Angemons. So we have our 2 Angemons. The reason we're running this, we're running a lot of yellow rookies, so it can digivolve over yellow purple. Its on deletion is just great for bringing back Devimons from trash. Obviously, when we get our new stuff, we'll have access to new Angemon, which will be 100 times better because of the fact of basically on deletion you play a yellow card with vaccine from your hand and then you put it at the bottom of the security stack. It has when attacking to basically place a virus that your opponent controls to the bottom of their security stack. And yeah, the new Angemons are a lot better, but we do not have BT13 yet. When we haven't changed this yet because we were doing this deck list, but in a minute or two we are and after we finish this, we'll probably be changing one of these out and one of another level 4 for the new Geo Greys, because they can search security stack for a Tamer and play it for free. It hopefully will let us do a lot more, but at the moment these 2 are pretty solid choices because of how they act. Moving on though, we also have BT11 Devimons, 2 of. Now, Devimon again over yellow over purple, great card for that, because we're running basically all yellow rookies, so we want all our sort of level 4s to be able to go over them. They have rush retaliation as long as you have a yellow Digimon or Tamer, so it can be a game ender if you need it to be. I mean, cost 5, it's still pretty good. Angel, it's a fallen angel, so it's searchable. Other people have been running the blocker devies because it costs 1 over a purple, but obviously because we have very few rookies that are also purple, we aren't too worried about that one because it doesn't digivolve over yellow. But yeah, the thought process of that is just that they have rush retaliation. The Angemon literally lets you play it back out if it's deleted, so you just get a Devimon from your trash. It's pretty standard in most Mastemons for this one. I'm thinking probably we drop 1 Angemon and 1 Devimon for the Geo Greys, but we'll work that out a wee bit more. After this, we haven't quite got round to that. Then, last but not least for the champions, we have Kazimon. BT7. She's basically a yellow hybrid. All our Tamers have yellow in some way, shape, or form, so having the hybrid for the game, or if we have multiple mirrors, to be able to go up to an angel and then use the mirror to play out the other one and then get that DNA, can be so helpful for the 2 memory. It's not the worst in the world, it's pretty solid. Obviously she's not an angel, archangel, fallen angel, because she can sort of be a hit or miss, but we do have the Gatomon search, so obviously anything that's yellow or purple is pretty solid in that regard. So we'll move on to level 5. So that was all level 4. So we're running a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 level 4s. It's pretty solid. The biggest bit that we're going to hit is probably the level 5s here, because the level 5s are a huge, big bit of our deck. So we'll just start with the standard best one that we have, and that is BT11 Angel One. And this one is just so good. I'm sure if you play Mastemon, you know this is basically unbeatable for the reason of what it is. It's very hard to replace these because it has inheritable to give blocker to all, during your opponent's turn, to all angels, archangels, and fallen angels, which kind of is a majority of your deck. It also has the when digivolving. You can search your security stack for an angel, archangel, or fallen angel, reveal it, add it to your hand, and if you added a card, recover one. So this kind of lets you get your angels out of the security instead of having to rely on searching them in your deck. Obviously, it has the once per turn. If when you play Lady Devimon or Mira, you get a memory. Still pretty solid on that. Works quite well with synergies for a lot of the deck. It's 6,000 DP, kind of works with a couple of options that we're running as well. Not really. I wouldn't say that this could be replaced with much. I would probably maybe replace one of the other angel woman that we're coming to with a manga Angemon, but we'll get to that when we get there. So the other angel woman that we're talking about is ST10. On play, basically security -2, and its inheritable is to give it a security +1. If I have a purple Digimon, which is good. It's good for aggression, but again, manga Angemon, which we're hoping to see the reprint sets for soon, is kind of better because the on play lets you recover one. It lets you control your security a lot better. It's good. I only run out of one because I feel like there's better probably cards out there, but I mean, it's an archangel, it's searchable, it's pretty solid. As I say, I would probably maybe replace this with a manga if I had it, but I do not have it at the minute, but fingers crossed we'll have it before we play Lumi again at some point. But yes, so we'll just move on to the BT13 Lady Devies. So we're running 3 of these. Again, standard. I like to try and keep my ratios between purple and yellow as close as possible. It's quite hard sometimes, but I know people sometimes prefer to run more in certain things, but I like to try and keep it that the DNA is always pretty, percentage-wise good. It's pretty good on the still cost of 3 over purple yellow. Literally all our angels, archangels, and fallen angels are. But it's basically a trash card from your hand, so it sets up your trash. Lets you return a Mira or an angel, archangel, or fallen angel from its traits from your trash to your hand. Pretty solid for getting stuff back that you need that might be stuck in your trash otherwise. Obviously, its inheritable is opponent's turn to give all angels, archangels, fallen angels retaliation, which means you're not raid proof, but I mean, if they're going to raid into you, if they don't have protection, they're going to lose their line. It also helps for when you're blocking, because people sometimes don't want to swing as long as you have retaliation on that line, so because you couldn't block the higher one and lose your line, but you'll retaliate against them and take their line as well. Obviously it has the once per turn for when you play an Angel Woman or a Mira. The opposite way around, you gain a memory. Helpful whenever you're constantly playing out with Mira and stuff, and it works really well with the deck in general. I've been playing around with the ratios and Lady Devies, but this one, I feel 3, especially for the recyclability, it's just too good to not run a 3. We are running 1 of the ST10 Lady Devimon. I've been on the fence about this one a lot. Obviously, you have the other Lady Devi that can draw 2, trash 2, it gets you through your deck faster. This one's the when digivolving, you get to search the top 3 cards for an angel, archangel, or fallen angel, and add a yellow or purple one of them to your hand. Yellow and, purple one. It's good if you don't hit them. I mostly prefer to keep it, as I say, for the devolutions, because it can go over a yellow or purple. Also gives all your yellow Digimon retaliation during your turn, which is pretty solid. There's a lot of different Lady Devimons and sort of playstyles. As I say, I like having quite a lot of angels, archangels, fallen angels in that regard for searching in my level 5s, because I always want to see them. I mean, you can also replace it with a lot of other stuff. There's obviously you have things like Lumus that you could go up on. There's other Lady Devimons. There's obviously a lot of different sort of stuff you can look at. As I say, the only reason we really like it is because it's the 2-colored evolutions, and we're only running it as one of, just because like we like to be able to trash to search and get our trash set up. A lot of the problems with the yellow base that you will find is setting up your trash early is very difficult, whereas in the purple you normally swing quite quick to set up the trash, which is probably one of the reasons that people prefer the purple, because the trash is set up faster for the Mastemon DNA. In yellow you have to play slightly differently and try and sort of get your trash full without like risking it, which is why probably in the game against Lumi I let him hit my security a couple times to get the cards to the trash. It's kind of one of them things you have to sort of, you know, try and figure it out and work it from there. But anyway, yes, that's us for the Lady Devimon. So as I say, you can sort of see we're running 4 Lady Devis of different types, and we're running 4 Angel Womans. Obviously we have the one-ofs, but we're running a total of 8 of them, which is probably quite heavy on level 5s, but that is not even all our level 5s, because speaking of Lusamon, obviously we have to run at least one Lusamon. Obviously Lusamon BT7, his play cost reduces by 3, I believe, for every 10 cards, which is just insane. In the late game, you can play him for quite a low amount. On play when Digivolving, obviously, delete one of your opponent's Tamers or level 6 or lower Digimon. With Mastemon, because you're playing level 5s, you don't really have access to elite level 6s, so Lusamon is a perfect card that lets you sort of do that. You also, obviously, with the way that Tamers and stuff are at the moment, a lot of decks run a lot of Tamers. Getting rid of pieces that could help them, Lusamon is kind of a very friendly guy for that. Normally when you see him, you want them in your trash as soon as possible, because it instantly sets up for Mastemon. When you see him in security, even better, you just have full access to him. I mean, he's not really up for debate. Most people at the minute the most debate you'll have with him is running him at 1 or 2. I'm actually on the fence. I might bring him up to 2 myself. It's very difficult sort of decision making on that, but he literally will always let you control the board so much. And with 12k or 12,000 DP, I mean, he's still pretty beefy, so he can swing. And on top of that, when you play him out, because he's level 5, you can literally use him to go into another Mastemon. It's very, very handy for that regard, because obviously level 5 purple, also searchable by Galamon. Literally, deck's just completely searchable with Galamon. It's kind of stupid, a lot of the things. I've gone through nothing that's too much out of the ordinary right now. The biggest things, the rookies. With the yellow BS, you have a lot more. With the Tsukayo, or with this... with the Tokomons, obviously when you play Angels, Archangels, and Fallen Angels, drawing one is just good. It's not even by effect. You can play them, hard play them to draw. As I say, with the yellow BS, you're kind of slightly... I like it better, but it is very personal preference. It is a bit janky, but as speaking of jank, we have our 2 BT2 Rise Greymons. So Mira being a cost 5 is the biggest bit about this deck that I have always been like, cost 5 for Mira, cost 5 for Gata. It's just so heavy cost intensity. I was like, I wonder, is there a way I could sort of take down the cost for Miras? If you're going to you always go hard play your first one, but like, maybe later on, if you have multiple Miras and you don't want to play 5 because you have Digimon, you want to do stuff with your Digimon, this is a level 5 yellow after your first, even after your first Mastemon, that for the cost of 3 lets you play a Mira. Obviously on-play effects of Tamer don't activate, but Mira doesn't have any on-play, so we're not totally worried about that. Obviously if you have the carries, it's the same thing. You can pay 3 to get a memory setter down. Obviously, it's why so many of our level 4s will be moving to yellow. Like, as I say, the Devimons are great at the minute, but I'm going to reduce that to 1 with the new Geograys for searching Tamers from security. And this, I find it was so weird to use, but the fact that you could constantly, like, originally this was an X antibody one, because you could technically put this from the trash into the security and then play it out and then digivolve into the X antibody and get another Tamer. But I find the cost 4 being too high on it. I decided to move back to 2 BT2 ones. Their inheritables embody there for 3 more yellow Tamers to get security +1. So, I mean, it can be aggressive, it can be really janky, obviously, because they're cyborgs and they're not angels, archangels, or fallen angels, but the fact that you can get Tamers and then you can use Tamers from there, it lets you. The biggest issue with Masty is always paying the 5 for them mirrors, because the mirrors is always going to give you 1 memory at the start of your turn, each mirror. So I wanted to sort of maximize that, because if you can get both these into Digivolve after playing your first mirror, you'll have 3. Your Gatomons now cost 2. It's something that I was like have been heavily debating, and it was a bit of jank that I decided to try. I am liking it. I might possibly keep it. I know there's a lot of the new deck build, and obviously it's the new deck build that I'm thinking of for BT13. It uses Geograys for searching the security. I might still run 1 or 2 of these. I just like how consistent it is for getting into a Tamer for the cost of 3 instead of 5. It just makes it feel a lot better. Obviously, you also can DNA into Mastemons. They're level 5 yellow. There's no restriction on that, obviously, so you just get a Mastemon from it as well. Obviously, like, you could always put the angels in, but, like, I like them. Other people, very janky. It is very janky. I know, I'm not oblivious to it. I have been using Mastemon, changing things around all the time. The yellow base was something I've been meaning to try for a while, because I know in BT14, the yellow base seems to be a lot more solid with the new Pokemons and stuff. And these just seemed like such a good idea at the time, and they've come off. And I don't know if I like them. Don't know if I don't. Obviously, really do want to sort of keep running them, but we'll see where the meta sort of takes us on that. As I say, they're very janky. If you're wanting consistency, you're losing a bit of consistency from them, but I mean, they're still searchable through Gatomons. Gatomon's always your key searcher in the deck, so I mean, there's not a lot of issues with them. Like, I would say, a lot of the level 5s is sort of your key pieces, so like, there's nothing different from any other Mastemon build. It's obviously recurrence of your Lady Dev is your recurrence, your Lady Dev is your searcher, your Lucimon's your deletion. Obviously, your Angel Womans are basically your security searching, and for Angels, Archangels, and Fallen Angels, obviously, with Mira, you want to digivolve into this and then probably, hopefully find a Lady Devimon, get it, recover, and then use the Mirror to play it out. But I know you could potentially drop these for a lot of things, but that could help out with this sort of thing. But I like the jank. The jank seems fun on it. Obviously, playing Mira for the cost of 3 is an incredibly cheap Mira. Obviously, you still have to have the line to do it. But I like the thought process of it. I feel like it is just such a strong card, because obviously you don't have a lot of ways to play Tamers. And I say, it sort of like gives us a lot of our line in yellow and purple, because it keeps a lot of it similar. So we have 1 more yellow than purple, but with the yellow base, I was going to say probably more expected than that. Obviously, a lot of that their level 5 stuff is quite interesting and quite solid for it. To move on to level 6s though, for to keep us moving, because otherwise we won't, we have our ST10 Mastemons. We are running 4 of them. Mastemon, obviously, the deck is Mastemon. Its DNA literally lets you do so much with grabbing cards from secure trash, putting them in security, and then just playing them. Even if you have the hard Digivolve into it for the cost of 5, you're basically set on a lot of it because of how good Mastemon is at that. Obviously, it has its all turns. If you play a card by effect, you get to delete stuff. I mean, Mastemon's just Mastemon. I don't know how else to explain it. You get 2 level 5s out, you DNA, you throw a level 4 or 5 back in depending on your opponent's board, and play it down and hopefully pop things and make your life easy. 13,000, obviously with our inheritables from Angel Woman and Lady Devi, they become retaliation blockers, as well as everything else. The biggest issue I've found with Mastemon a lot of the time is you have to be careful of the D-Digivolve and the trashing sources from the top. It is a very annoying issue that we have had to deal with for thing, but there's not a lot of there's not a lot of wiggle room. You're going to be running 4 Mastemons. If not, you're running 3. There's like, I prefer the 4 because you always see them, you always have them. They're pretty solid strategies in regards to what you want the deck to do. And it also gives you a lot of reviability with your Mires, because obviously you get your 2 level 5s to DNA, and it gives you a lot of potential. Mastemon is always going to be at least 3 or 4. You're not really looking less. Though we are running 1 BT13 Orphamon Fall Down mode. Fall Down mode is just a great card in general. It is a cost 4 from the yellow or purple, but I mean, yeah, it's worth it in the overall scheme of things, because most of the time you're going to have both colors underneath them, so you'll get both of those effects. Obviously, when Digivolving from purple, you delete an opponent's level 4 lower Digimon. Great removal to control the board again. It's great in that regard. If there's yellow underneath them, you cover 1. That triggers your carries. It lets you do stuff with all the keep hold of the memory to try and sort of circumvent the fact that you're always going to give your opponent loads of memory. And also has non-deletion, which is great for the Mastemon, which is you play 1 purple or yellow level 4 lower Digimon card from your trash without paying the memory cost, so you get free Gatomon when it dies. The Gatomon basically will trigger any Gatomons you have and inheritables from the other lines that you have, hopefully. Also, because he's a fallen angel, he's searchable from our Skyamons. He gets retaliation blocker, and being yellow-purple, you can add him from the Gatomon for either or. Orphamon Fall Down mode has been... It used to be very big in Mastemon. It's kind of been losing a lot of popularity. With it, it will definitely lose popularity when BT13 drops, because we get the new Seraphimon, which is going to be so strong, because it is literally when Digivolve and Recover, and when cards added to your security stack, you get the minus 7,000 DP and security attack +1. It's going to be so much better than this. At the minute, though, this is still pretty strong. I like it for a multitude of reasons. You're not frightened to swing it in security because you get a Gatomon off it if it dies, and realistically the recovery and all is still handy for controlling your security against your opponent. He's pretty strong, and being a purple yellow level 6, I mean, he fits perfectly into the deck because he gives you access to all your stuff. It's the same with Mastemon, purple and yellow. The level 6s normally are that sort of variant, and though finishing up our level 6s, we have EX4 Shadow Seraphimon. So obviously I was talking about Seraphimon there and how it'll change. The Shadow Seraphimon is a very solid choice. I've been on the fence about it myself on it, but it is so strong at the moment. It's cost 4 to digivolve from a yellow, so you have to be careful. It can only be over your Angel Woman's and your Rise Greymon, which is why we run the extra yellow. However, it is not an Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel. It is a Seraph, so you do not get the search on that, but you can still grab it through Galamons. The opponent's turn, when a card is removed from your security stack, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Digivolve one on one of your opponent's Digimon. It's just so strong because it's not once per turn. So as long as this isn't blocking and they're hitting your security, you're de-digivolving all of their stuff, which is kind of pretty scary in regards to it. Obviously, he also has non-deletion of Recover 1, which can trigger Akari's, control your security stack as well. And then, on top of that, after he recovers the one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 for each card in security. So if you're at 5-6, that is some amount of DP reduction. Because, like, I mean, it's just kind of crazy, because you're looking at like 20,000 DP reduction on a single Digimon, which can obviously, it's quite scary in regards to that, because they want to remove it because they don't want to lose their line to de-digivolving every time they hit security. So they're going to want to remove it, and when they remove it, obviously you get to just delete a line off the face of the earth. Later in the game, when you have less security, it's still viable, but it's not quite as strong. You're more relying on the opponent's turn. It's why you have a lot of recovery in the deck as well, because you don't want this sort of thing. I mean, he has so many other things he could be. He can be another Orphamon Falldown mode. He can be literally the other Mastemon, the purple only Mastemon that when Digivolving lets you play Galamon from the trash. However, I have found that I quite like Shadow Seraphi in the matchups where they're just blitzing through your security. You just drop a Shadow Seraphi on them, and they have very little to do at that point because they need to deal with him first, which also holds them back a turn or two. 12,000 DP is nothing to be shy of, and obviously when the new build changes, where our level 5 ratio and level 4 ratio come up a wee bit, so we're going to be losing a couple of level 6s, but overall scheme of things, it's still pretty solid. And as I say, level 6s are pretty basic at the moment. That's all of them. You have your Mastemons, you have your Orphamon, you have your Shadow Seraphi. It's not hugely different from a lot of things. Anyway, moving on, we have level 7s. Now, level 7s is pretty fun. I'm just going to put them both down here. Obviously, we have Defexmon. Again, purple can be found from thing, can digivolve literally over all of your level 6s, because Shadow Seraphimon is a black-yellow, so you can digivolve them over them if you need to. However, with Tamer Heavy format, he reduces play cost by 3 for each Digimon or Tamer. I mean, you're playing him for basically nothing. You get stuff like Crossheart and all. He's really good because obviously on play, he de-digivolves everything of your opponents and deletes all level 4 or lowers. The FX, at the end of the opponent's turn, also deletes your opponent's lowest play cost. I mean, I would personally not run the deck without Defx because of how strong and oppressive he is. There is other options out there, but you could run the Rangulamon instead of him. You could run the Ordinamon, the second Ordinamon. But I mean, the fact that he can be found with the Gatomon and added to your hand and all that, and you have ways to recover him from the trash. I mean, he's just too good as a 15,000 DP. I mean, pretty big hit in security, pretty big hit in the board. He's just pretty solid all around. I mean, I don't know what else to say about Defexmon. Like, most people run it if they can. We also have our BT9, or Dinamon. She is a DNA of a level 7, so 2 level 6s together, purple and yellow, and basically she has no normal when digivolving, but she is a fallen angel, so that is always useful. Also purple yellow, she's searchable by Gatomon for either or, and when DNA digivolving, she deletes one of your opponent's level 6 or higher Digimon, and all the level 5 or lower. So it's basically a board wipe, and then recovers 1 for each, so literally refills your security. She's very, very strong. I've debated running the 2 of her instead of the Defexmon because of the recovery and stuff, but you have to be so wary of deck that I think 1's enough. Being a fallen angel, she gains the inheritables from the block of reboots. If you have another line on the board and she gets deleted on the block, on deletion, she trashes the top card of your security stack to play her without paying a memory cost. So as long as you can get her to die every block, she's an infinite blocker. It's kind of a bit scary because of obviously the fact that you can constantly play her down again, and blocking doesn't have summoning sickness. It's kind of a wee bit scary in that regard. Obviously, at that point, they'll probably remove your other line, but you have to sort of play around that fact. And she's a 15,000 DP that can become a blocker and retaliator, and she has the recoverability to play herself again. Obviously, she can come out from basically all your level 6s. There's no downside to that. I don't think Ordinamon will be coming out of the deck anytime soon. There is obviously, I think when BT13 lands though, we have to create space, so we might lose these 2 for stuff like Messenger of Hope, which as an option is just insane because it lets you look your security stack for vaccines to evolve over. Way too strong in that regard. We aren't focusing so much on our level 7s, but at the minute having the big beefy level 7s that you can get into pretty easily is pretty strong. Obviously 2 Mastemons make the Ordinamon, or Famon and a Mastemon. You have your end of turn. Board wiping your opponent is just too good with recovery to not run. As I said, that's basically it for the Digimon. We're playing very weird ratios on it, as I said. As I say, we have our 2 level 7s, our 4, 5, 6 level 6s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 level 5s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 9 level 4s, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and our 9 level 3s. You're going to find sometimes that can be bricky, but it happens with every Mastemon deck. You sort of just have to hope you get them Gatos and get the searches and get what you need. It's very hard not to have a bricky Mastemon deck, as any Mastemon deck will tell you. It's just unfortunate that that's how it goes, but as I said, that ratio should hopefully at least give you what you need to keep drawing with the Digivolves and searching and get you what you need. But as I say, you can't rely on it 100%. No deck's 100% in that regard. But moving on to the Tamers anyway. So we are running 4 BT11 Mira. As I said before, playing it all with the Greymon, it seems a bit janky, but when you getting a memory for each mirror you have on the board, if you manage somehow by some miracle, as I've done a couple of times, to get all 4 out, you're getting 4 memory at the start of your turn, so you're starting at least 5 memory. That's a free Gatomon. It's kind of scary in that regard. Mira is just an incredible card in every concept of the deck. It was what the deck was missing for so long. Basically, when you Digivolve into an Agiwoman or Lady Devi as well, if you have 1 or fewer Digimon, you can spend it to play the other one from your hand. It triggers their effects to get the memory back. It triggers your inheritable effects to get the memory back, and then that's your DNA. If you have the end of turn, if it passes the turn Digivolving into it, you will normally have the end of turn through the Salomons or the Galamons. It gets you your Mastemon pretty quick and effectively from 1 line. As I said before, the reason we're running the yellow hybrid as well is when you have multiple of these out and you have nothing and you need the Mastemon, cost a 2 over this and then cost a 3 into one of your angels, and then you get to tap the other one and you have your Mastemon on the board. It's pretty strong for setting up a lot of things. Obviously, with a lot of the DNAing, these can come in handy for setting you up for multiple DNAs in turn, or getting that rush in for the game. And sometimes you have to swing with the 6000 to hope the security doesn't matter, and then you get to play out. You've already played out the other one. You DNA, swing again, then you've probably played the Devimon from it, which gives you the rush for or another swing. It's kind of really good. Honestly, you can run it at 3, you can run it at 4. It depends on how you're feeling about the deck in regards to what you're doing. Obviously, at the minute, I'm running at a 4. As I said, Rise Greymon is the reason we're running this at 4, because we want to try and get as much of that memory as possible for getting that Gatomon for as cheap as possible. A lot of it revolves around that. As I say, they're all yellow-purple, so you can hybrid over them with the yellow. But the mirrors are very strong in that regard. And the other teamer we are running is BT13 Kari. She's your memory setter, and when a card's added to your security stack, you can suspend it to gain a memory. I mean, you're always constantly in your turn adding cards to security stack, from Mastemon DNAs to recovery to everything. Obviously, when we get the Geograys in from BT13 here, we get to play this for free from security with the Geogray, and then because we recover one from the Geogray, we can instantly tap it, gain a memory. So the Geogray becomes cost of 2, and it kind of has a bit of synergy with that new Geogray, Rise Gray stuff. It's very handy. However, when we come to BT14, we are very much going to be replacing at least these two with TKs, because we want to get a recovery from the Messenger of Hope. Messenger of Hope is a great option card. It's cost 1 and basically lets you search your security stack and digivolve into a level 6 or lower yellow Digimon with vaccine and stress among them. Then you shove your security stack, and then if a Digimon digivolve with this effect, if you have a TK, you get to recover 1. So obviously the TKs then become more strong, especially with the new inheritables for Patamons and stuff. A lot of the deck will be changing in regards to that, because when a card's added to security stack, the Patamon's inheritable will let you gain a memory. And the Tokomon will let you draw 1, which is insane, because like even if you just Mastemon, you can get a memory and draw 1 from them, which is why we can't wait for them. As for the Tamers, that's basically the best setup I have at the minute. There's a few other options out there. As I say, if you're going down more of a purple line and base, you can probably run Meikus. Meikus are basically, you search the top 3 for a purple and yellow Digimon, purple and yellow, I believe, and then from there, when you play a 2-color purple or yellow and yellow Digimon, you can tap it to gain a memory. It makes your Gatomons cheaper. It fixes your hand, but it's more because you're trashing all the ones that you don't add from the search. It sets up your trash as well. I have heavily debated dropping one of the Miras and one of the Karis for it, and running 2 Miekos as well. But as I say, I'm kind of, the way that it's going to change in BT14, I've been kind of holding on to this build for now with Tamers. I like it. It's very synergenic. Something that I used to run before all the new support came out in BT11 was the yellow wizard mons. I think I actually have one sitting in the spares here. But yes, it's BT6 wizardmon I used to run, because obviously when a card was removed from the security stack, you gained 1, so it like literally synergized so well, because you added 1, removed 1, tap the carry, gained 2 memory, and then the Campbellmon triggered, which gives you another memory, and it just the yellow, I find that the yellow base can be really strange, but give you so much advantage on memory control that it kind of like makes up for the fact that your trashing setup is quick. But that's basically it for the Tamers. You have memory, and hopefully you get a lot of them, and you just get to go ham with memory. I've opened the game with 4 Miras in hand and played all 4. annoying sometimes, but I mean, I had memory, I wasn't stuck, and on top of that, the mirrors give you color requirements for a lot of your options. So, I mean, it's pretty good, and it's a pretty solid strategy because it also turns on a lot of stuff. Like, obviously, you have a lot of stuff that you require yellow Tamers and or Digimon for and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's pretty handy. But yeah, that's all the Tamers. So, as I say, we're running the 4 mirrors and the 2 carries. 6 isn't overly horrible. And we will move on to the options. So, obviously, removal in Mastemon is kind of important because of what you're doing. I am probably going to be changing these ratios, but first and foremost, we have ST10 Chaos Eggs. I'm running 2. They are probably the best removal in the game because of how they remove. Placing an opponent's Digimon in face down in this top or bottom of the security stack, it gets around the Greymon X antibody protection, it gets around a lot, it gets around Machindramon protection, what Chaosdramon protections are, and like, it's so good. And the security effect on them in and of themselves, to place one face down in the top or bottom of security is incredible. I would probably run this at 4 if I could. Finding space in the deck at the minute's quite tight, but you could easily cut some pieces that I've said about and basically just put in Chaos Eggs because, like, I know it's cost of 8 and it's heavy, but it can remove a key piece. Sometimes it's just where you play them and how you play them is the biggest thing about Chaos Egg giving you advantage because of... Like, I've used it in level 3s before, because I just know that I need to remove their line before they can do stuff. But obviously your mirrors turn them on, because you're running a yellow base. Normally you're not getting the color requirements until about level 4 or 5. But mirror being 2 color has been amazing for us in regards to that. When BT13 comes around, I'll probably be running 3 or 4. Obviously, because we're moving into and we have overflow. Once overflow sort of hits properly, like removing a line to gain the memory from the overflow, literally might keep it your turn from using one of these, and it's just kind of, they cost 4 maybe, if like the Melga ES costs 4, has overflow 4, so paying 8, you're paying 4 for removing that line, which is kind of scary. So we will probably be upping these, but at the moment we're still running at 2. As like, they're quite good in general. One of the other things we're running as a removal card is our BT10 Lonke Adgisto. I cannot say it, I normally call it Woske. But it's a yellow, it's a cost 8. If you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 12,000 for the turn. If you have 3 or fewer, you place one of your opponent's Digimon face down in the top of the security. It means you know what you're hitting, and on top of that, if you have exactly 3 security cards, you can 110 just use both effects, and it's great when it comes up as the 4 security cards, so that when it activates you have exactly 3 because it's removed from the security. It's shockingly good, because it's pure yellow, you have access to it from early. You could even put it in the place of the 2 Chaos decks. You have options on that, and that's all I'm running in forms of big removal at the moment. Obviously, I might still run 2 of these and 2 of these whenever we come to BT14 and just use maximum sort of removal in that regard. We do have other options, but we'll talk about them in a minute. But we'll go into this one first. We have 2 BT5 Flame Hellsize. So Flame Hellscythe is great for removing low-level Digimon. It's great from DP reducing if you need to swing into something and you can afford the 6 memory. Obviously it's a purple-yellow, and basically what it does, it reduces 6000 DP off Digimon. Then you can play a yellow or Digimon card, purple or yellow, with 6000 DP or less, which is really good for us because obviously with our Angel Womans, they're all 6000 DP, our Lady Devies are all 6000 DP, our Hybrid and all our level 4s are 6000 DP or less, including Gatomon, and then you've got your rookies as well, which are all under 6000, and it lets you basically get so much advantage generation. Like, it's too good not to run. 2, I think, is maximum at the minute because, like, there's better cards out there. I've been toying around with some other options, and it also triggers a lot of your inheritables and stuff when you play a Gatomon from it, which actually brings us to the Underworld's Call, which is BT6. So Underworld's Call, I'm only running one of it at the minute. I've been debating 2 to 3 sometimes just because of how good it can be. It lets you play a purple level 4 Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost, which I believe is Gatomon, but it's basically cost 4 Gatomon. If you have the inheritables, it's cost 3, cost 2. It can make your Gatomon really cheap, and it doesn't prevent play. So you do get to play your on play effect to search the top 3 cards again. Adding a purple or yellow, it's super strong. If you trash it for something, you can draw a card. If you're not going to make use of it, you have your Lady Devimon, you need an extra card, you can trash it and then get the draw effect. It's pretty solid. I've been debating bringing it up to 2 or 3, but as I said, Flame Hellscythe is so good for removal that I'm keeping it at 1 at the moment. And then our last card is Calling for Darkness, which is BT7. It is a limited card, and it is just so amazing. It's basically delete one of your Digimon, then return 2 purples from your trash to your hand. If you don't have a Digimon on board, you resolve it as much as possible, so you don't delete, you just add the 2 purples, which also gives us access to Def X again, gives us access to stuff like that. And if you delete an Orphamon, you get the undulation to literally play down a Gatomon, and you have also like added the 2 purples back. And the other thing you can do with Calling for Darkness, which is really a wee bit janky if you need removal and you don't have any of your lovely removal cards, you can Calling for Darkness Shadow Seraphi, which triggers its undulation, which then recovers you 1 and then minuses DP off the face of the earth, which is great. If they're not planning to get rid of it, you can get rid of your own cards and do stuff. Obviously, this is all our options at the minute and brings us to the last bits of our deck, but again, you can sort of play around with ratios. There's a few cards there that are sort of optional, the likes of Def X, the likes of Shadow Seraphi, the likes of Orphamon, the likes of the Rise Greys. You can sort of play around within ratios, and the Tsukaimons are even ratio specific, so you could change out, you could put in memory boosts. Obviously memory boosts are amazing. I have been heavily debating putting in reinforcing memory boost, which is look at the top 2 cards, put 1 security, 1 hand, and then on top of that it sticks around to give you 3 memory in your next turn. I'd say when BT14 comes, obviously we're creating space because we want 4 Messenger of Hopes because a lot of our deck are vaccines. It lets us do a lot with it. There's a lot of options for the deck. I'd say these are quite... you can decide if you want these or not. They're not overly necessary. You have also got things like Def X, Shadow Seraphi, Orphamon, the Rise Greys, even the Hybrid is, they're all flex spots, so you can like flick them up and change them about, do what you want with them. Obviously these are all like changeable with other stuff. They're just my personal preferences at the minute, which are kind of interesting in the way they work. it's very strange in regards to that. You can like play about with it a bit. Obviously, as I say, purple memory boost and gives you most of your high-end stuff. Yellow memory boost gives you most of the deck. I played around with a couple of different things in this deck. It's very interesting. Obviously, if you're playing the purple base, you run your Ignite Bonds, you run your Gazimon, you can run your Psychomon. Psychomon prevents rejection play costs. Gazimon has obviously stops them gaining memory except by Tamers. You have your purple mem boosts, you have your yellow mem boosts. It's really very solid. You also have your Neanomons, and like I've some sitting here that sort of is for stuff. So like you'll have your Neanomons, which you can run for your purple BS Sigs. You have your Pagomon. You change out your Candlemons, obviously for Ignites, which are just super solid for, because it's just when you play Digimon by effect. And this is obviously the Lady Devi that we've debated it so much, which is trigger draw 2 when Digimon trigger draw 2 trash 2. We have our extra Underworld's Call. There's the ST6 Devimon, which costs 1. It's always a blocker, so even when you don't have the problems. Another thing we can run in the yellow base is Pillamon, because obviously can't play Digimon by effects, helps against things like Crossheart and stuff like that. Obviously, you have your lockdown for the purples as well, which is can't reduce play costs. This locks down the mirror match. Actually, it's not the Crossheart, because of you can't play Digimon by effects. It locks down things like Bloomlord in certain ways. Bloomlord can still play around it because Bloomlord's Bloomlord, but you've also got your Psychomon if you're on the purple base, which is you can't reduce play costs. You've got your Gazimon, as I was saying before. There's fun interactions with other stuff. If we're still in the yellow base, we also have the Ninjamon, which is the blue-yellow. So if you're security, you can recover 1. It has when attacking. If you have 3 or more security cards, return opponents left 3. It's you have options to play around with them flex spots. You can also run the Rise Greymon X, and fun fact, when you're running it, you just grab a Rise Greymon from the trash, put it in the security, play it out, then Digivolve and play another Mira. I mean, you have sort of options to play about with. Personally, as I say, from all the weird testing I've done with it and all the weird ideas I've tried, I'm personally liking the build at the minute as it is. The only thing I'm going to change is the Geograys, for obvious reasons again, but playing out them Tamers as free as possible. But yeah, that's basically my entire thought process in the deck at the minute. I guess thanks for listening, and give it a try and see if you like it. As I say, if you don't, you can just change around a couple of things that I've said about and see just where you are. Mastemon's very about playing around with it and seeing what you can do. There's that many different deck builds, you're never going to find one that 100% suits you. You need to sort of test the waters with new ideas for some bits of it, but from what I found, Mastemon's always been fun, and I never feel like I'm in a situation I can't get out of with it, so it's nice to have that. I do really want to see where it goes in BT13 stuff, and if you're sticking around with Lumus channel, I'm sure you'll see it again in its next iteration and the iteration after that, and hopefully more. I just have to leave it there though, and I hope you guys enjoy it and see, and hopefully you can let me know how it goes and if you like the jank or hate the jank in it. But yeah, that's all at the minute. See you later, guys.